Okay, so if you don't know, South Korea is now facing an iPhone epidemic.
An iPhone epidemic. Interesting. Everybody uses iPhone. Galaxy,
And
ooh.
Samsung might need
Kick
to
him
start
out.
worrying. Okay, so imagine this. You're on a first date, you guys are talking, and things are going pretty well. Both of you finish your meal and go up to the counter to pay. Goddamn, the bill came up to $97.50, but it's okay. You got this. You pull out your Samsung Galaxy Fold 5 and open that baby up and move it towards the pay machine. You look back at your date. Her smile slowly disappears. She looks at your phone and now back at you with a very concerned look.
Wait, what? Do they Wait. Did they look down on you if you don't use iPhones? Really?
You pay, say your goodbyes, and go your separate ways.
You disgusting Samsung user. You smell of shit. Sorry, I don't date guys who don't use iPhones. You stand your place. Yeah. It's an old man phone. Please don't ever contact me ever again. Let me save this. I'm gonna use this every time somebody talks about Androids. All right, great. I have this. Galaxy equal boomer. Yeah, boomer. Are you old and frail? Don't use fucking. Don't start using an iPhone. Start being hip and cool or whatever the fuck. Holy shit. Imagine, dude. The funniest thing is that I'm gonna be honest. I feel like people that use Android usually always love to talk shit about people using iPhone. They are super vocal about whenever somebody using an iPhone, they always want to be like, oh god, you use the iPhone, what the hell, blah blah blah. Well, iPhone users really don't give a shit. They're just using their phone. They like the OS, they like the phone. That's it. But a Galaxy, like Android users always is like gotta put their fucking mouth where it is and tell you that you're using a shit phone while you're enjoying the product. You don't care about the shit. You're enjoying yourself. They're like, I can access these files and do this and that. You can't do that on iPhone. And in reality, you can actually do that on iPhone if you like jailbreak it or whatever. But but doesn't really matter. You don't want to use that because iPhone gives you a lot of, it's a simple way to use a phone. They're always a simple, pretty automatic, has a lot of security. It's a pretty decent phone. People like it. And also, I personally think that, I think iOS, for me personally, I'm used to iOS. I feel like iOS, like UI is the cleanest. I had an Android at the point and I never liked the UI. I was never a big fan of it.
And that's the last you ever hear of her. Look, my audience is pretty smart, and that's pretty clear from my last video. Well, most of you anyway. So you know that this is an absolutely insane situation that would probably never play out in real life. But did you know that in some parts of the world, some people legitimately form conclusive opinions about a whole ass person?
Of course they do. People do that with clothes as well. If you're not using like branded clothes, you're not using Gucci or whatever, Prada, you're not using Vans, if you're like a skater, you know, all of their branded things on everything you use and consume. If you even go to the grocery store and you buy cheap food that is literally the same as the expensive one, sometimes people might look at it ill. Like, imagine if you serve someone that is some, like, let's see, cheap chips. Let's say that. I'm not sure about you, but it hasn't really, I've not experienced it, but I've visited someone and I've seen people react a little bit odd to it. I'm not gonna lie. People react to everything if it's like looking upon like a little bit different to the norm. Or not even the norm, it's just like if it's cheaper or different.
Their relationship status, their hopes and dreams, solely by their phone.
Hey,
yeah.
You stupid little melon. Don't you make content that also does the same?
Okay. Look, guys, I like to meme a lot.
I'm gonna be honest though, like I'm gonna say this. For me, I use my phone as a phone. I don't really care about many other things. I use my phone to use public transport. I call, I text, I look at Twitter sometimes, I look at like Discord sometimes. and maybe I'll take a photo thing, but I don't really use my phone to any crazy wild things. I don't play games on it. I don't do that much on it. So usually a phone doesn't really matter that much. I kind of just happy that I have the chance to cloud it up, like, or have it automatically clouded up in case it dies, so I don't lose all my files. That's pretty much it.
On the different tech that people use.
Our smartphones is a mega multi-tool. Yeah, and you can use that multi-tool in many ways as you want, and as what's suited for you. But for me personally, I don't really think that much about what kind of phone I'm using. I'm glad I have this phone I have now, because I couldn't VTube without it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, because this camera, this front camera is one of the best cameras that iPhone one has. And that's why you can kind of VTube, because if you don't have like iPhone X above, you can't really VTube without them. So I'm happy I bought an iPhone. Else I would be in a shitty situation where I need to buy a new phone.
Is my passion. Ironically, my very first video on YouTube
Hi,
was
Abby, how you doing,
what
buddy?
your phone says about you. But at the end of the day, it's just a meme that nobody should take seriously. I love all of you equally, even if you do use Beats headphones. But when the meme goes beyond the meme, that's when it becomes a problem. So I came across some absolutely insane articles from South Korea the other day, specifically about Galaxy and Apple phones.
Beats headphones,
Guys, these
dude.
people are not memeing around. A little disclaimer.
I had
to
Beats
the
ages
Galaxy
ago when
users out
Dr.
there,
Dre owned them.
If you have a faint heart, I suggest
They're
you
pretty
turn
good.
back now. This one's gonna hurt.
That's like
Now, this
long time
article
ago.
talks about a since deleted YouTube video from a Korean
Hope you're
YouTube
well. I'm
channel
doing
that
great, man.
sparked a lot of online discussion. In the video, a Korean college student was asked, "What do you think about men who use Galaxy phones?" Pretty simple question, right? Well, she responded that one time her friend got a number from a dude, but was surprised to see him pull out a Galaxy phone. She admits she didn't end up contacting him because he had a Galaxy.
But can we go, why couldn't you go more into the depths of this? So what is wrong with the Galaxy? I mean, you already failed. You're an Android user. We can't talk about this. I think what I'm seeing is that a pattern of this is that Android is like a political view. If you're like far right or far left, American. I heard that people that are far right cannot ever date anyone that's far left, and same on the other right. So, type of far. Maybe this is if you're an iPhone user in Korea, you cannot date anyone that is a Galaxy user. That's just a no-go. We do not match, baby.
A dirty, poor Galaxy Android user would have been too embarrassing
Yeah,
to
I
be
think
around.
so as well.
Okay, so she didn't actually say that last
Broke
part, but
boy,
she
are
might
you
as
an
well.
Android user? You're a broke boy. Should have just said so. Shouldn't have pulled out your Android phone.
Now, I like to believe that most of you don't actually care what phones people use, and most Koreans probably don't either. But this, and many articles like it, show that it's potentially becoming a bigger social issue, especially among younger Koreans. The meme has definitely been
Galaxy
extended.
user, worst type of men.
And if you're currently living in South Korea right now, let me know if this has been a real experience for you.
But how the hell could anyone think like this?
You're right. How could people think like this? Well, here's a quick quiz for you. Now, take a good look at this picture. Can you tell me which of these gentlemen is the most likely to be broke?
This guy, he has a Samsung. I fucking hate Samsung. This is a poor fella. This guy is a rich, well-known individual. Look at his fancy fucking style. He looks beautiful. Ooh, he looking good. Ugh.
That's right. It's you. Because
It's
even
me. Oh,
after everything I just said,
oh, you're making me
a
blush.
split second, without you even realizing it, you just judged a nice man for his phone choice.
Why you bully me?
The following
Why
are
not?
some quotes from a discussion board that the articles mention. I'll provide some rough translations. It's a fact that men who use iPhones are more likable. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure what facts this person is referring to because I'd like to use them for my next video. But if your friends, partners, cousins, parents, dogs legitimately finds real human beings more likable if they use an iPhone, then I'm so sorry. There's no hope for them now. A 20-year-old man who uses Galaxy seems like a mama boy. It's like he can't read the room. This one seems a bit too specific for me to comment, but you heard it here first. If you're watching this video
This is
on a
so
Galaxy
stupid.
phone, then
This is
bad
so
news for you.
stupid.
If a 20-year-old man uses Galaxy, he looks like someone who is falling behind in trends, like looking at our father. Now, this is actually something that I mentioned in my first video, and statistically speaking, which I'll get to later, it's not too far off. An overwhelming majority of those over the age of 40 in South Korea use a Galaxy phone, but for a grown adult to unironically look down on someone for not conforming to a popular phone choice is honestly just strange. This one might not actually be the fault of Galaxy itself, but because Apple sort of positioned themselves as trendsetters.
iPhone all the way. Why are you having an Android? Like, go get your money up. Like, get out of the house. Like,
Yeah,
fact,
get a house.
Any Android phone would probably be considered an old
Buy an
man phone
iPhone
in
and get
South
a house.
Korea.
What are you
Pixel
being a broke
users,
boy for?
I'm sorry, you guys might as well be fossils. Men who use iPhones
Just get a
have
house.
taste and sensibility.
Ah.
Okay, so these two words, 감각 and sense, is a little hard to translate into English. It means a little more than just taste and sensibility, but this is pretty much what it means. It might be because of the fact that dudes with an iPhone may take better looking photos and therefore seem more aesthetic. Okay, so you and I both know that Androids and iPhones are now pretty much on par in terms of picture quality. But in terms of the vibe, personally, I do kinda like iPhone pictures a little more. In my experience, they do a better job at producing well-balanced, natural-looking images, especially of other people. There's a certain vibe to iPhone photos that make it feel more emotional. Galaxy photos, on the other hand, tend to oversaturate the colors. Now, this whole situation is pretty insane because of two things. First, South Korea is the home of the Galaxy. 69% of all adult smartphone users
nice.
use a Samsung device. Every single payment infrastructure is practically made for Samsung phones. You can use your phone to pay for almost anything, including bus fares, subways, taxis,
How do they
and
fuck up
kiosks.
in the home field in that case? How do you lose that battle? Yeah, but okay, but do they have Apple Pay? Like, if they have these things installed, have they like paid so that Apple Pay doesn't work?
Also, Samsung service centers on pretty much every block. Apple Pay, on the other hand, was only a recent development in Korea, but even just last year, Apple Pay wasn't even a huge thing. A lot of Korean apps are also just way better on the Galaxy. Second, everywhere you'll be blasted by Samsung ads. Kids are literally conditioned to knowing and seeing Samsung Galaxy phones
what is
from the
Faker doing
moment
here?
they're born. Now, this surge of iPhones, particularly
I didn't
among
know
younger
Faker
Koreans,
was a
is
broke
now pretty
boy.
noticeable. While Galaxy
Why is
still
he on the
remains dominant
Samsung
in terms
ad?
of overall market share, this gap is shrinking pretty fast. According to a survey by Gallup released in July 2023, iPhone usage for Koreans aged 18 to 29 is 65%. This is twice the number of Galaxy users in the same age group. In contrast, Galaxy phones are really dominant among the middle-aged population and even those in their 30s. In the same survey last year, iPhone usage was only 52% in the same 18 to 29 age group and 44% for Galaxy. This
It's
means that
increasing.
in just 1 year, iPhone usage increased by 13%, while Galaxy decreased by 12%. But overall, is this really a bad thing? Well, if it's causing people to shame each other, then hell yeah it is. Of course,
I mean,
this is
it's not really a bad thing, but yeah, if it's causing people to like look down on each other for what kind of phone they use, yeah, that is bad. But the fact that somebody buys more a phone or compared to the other, who gives a fuck?
isn't anything new.
are you broke? Like, how can you not afford an Apple?
Yeah, are you broke? Like, are you a broke boy? You should have just said so. Just buy an iPhone already. Take like a loan and stop being poor.
Sorry.
And it isn't just isolated to South Korea. And those
Oh, dude, I
countries
love
just
bitchy
don't
behavior. It's so
care.
stupid.
A recent study found that 87% of teenagers in the US own an iPhone. I mean, there's even the crazy ass blue versus green bubbles thing there. And remember this article? So why the hell is this the case?
Yeah, just
Why
sell your
is it
left
that
kidney.
Some people perceive
Stop being
iPhone
broke.
users, especially dudes who use iPhones, a little differently in some parts of the world. Is it that a particular type of person chooses to use iPhones, or is it that the iPhone makes the particular type of person? Now, if you happen to have a brain, this whole video sounds a little silly.
I can
and
with
you're
all
probably
girls
wondering
with
why
my
you haven't
Android
clicked off yet.
phone? Yeah.
So, thank you. But
If you're looking for
sometimes
men
silly
who use an
things need to be
Android.
talked about. Now, based on these articles, I think we can narrow it down to
You
these
don't
four
need a
things:
bro to
design, camera, status, and ecosystem. Good design is very subjective, but the overall sentiment is that an iPhone is clean and pretty. The elegant feeling of an iPhone is pretty iconic,
True.
but for some, the beauty lies in the fact that most of their friends have an iPhone. This social proof is enough to make you think that it looks nice. Also, despite all the memes, a lot of people, especially women, do seem to prefer getting their photos taken with an iPhone. As mentioned before,
Leave
the
Drix
photos end up looking
alone.
a little more natural. iPhones are also associated with a higher price point that often makes you look like you got money. Look, I know there are Android
I
devices
wasted
that
a
cost
lot of
people
money on a
ton, but
phone.
most people
Look how rich
don't
I am.
really care. Apple has marketed themselves as trend-setting,
iPhone 15 has an all-new design.
Wow.
fashionable, and sort of exclusive. The release of a new iPhone always generates hype, making them always desirable. Even 71% of you guys seem to agree that the iPhone is a better consumer choice than a Galaxy phone. And finally, we have Apple's ecosystem. Things like iMessage, FaceTime, and AirDrop creates a sense of community among Apple users, but it also pressures the broke boys on the other side to join the hell in. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've just sat at a table waiting for my friends to finish airdropping photos to each other. So as you can see, this all sounds a little crazy. The thing is, Android users are cool, iPhone users are cool. Although some of Apple's business tactics are a little sketch, we can all laugh about funny stereotypes. Because at the end of the day, guys, a phone is just a phone. Despite all the memes, your character, personality, and self-worth isn't defined by what you use, but how you use them. They are just things that help bring out the best in you. To have one corporation monopolizing an entire market segment is never a good thing, even if it is Samsung. And shaming people based on the phone they use is also just beyond stupid. And to Samsung's marketing
You hear
team,
that, Sword? You hear
I know
that?
you're selling hella phones, but come on, let's step up your game.
I don't know, man. I think it's stupid to, like, people shame people for anything, like any consumption products or any kind of clothing and style. People shame each other for all things. Like when you're younger, people look at status in many sort of regard, and a lot of people seek that also out whenever they get older. But it kind of diminishes as you get older and people start caring less and less. It's just about status in the end of the day. And iPhone is kind of like putting itself on its pedestal as clean and expensive. And I don't know. I think you should just buy a phone you like and don't give a fuck about anything. I don't give a shit what you use or do. I get what I like, yeah? So, I don't know. But if you're a broke boy, you should just said so. Anyways, yeah, they always shame for anything. Yeah, people are evil. It is what it is. People shame each other for everything. Hi, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe. I'll post videos nearly every day, so if you want to watch any more reactions, feel free to subscribe and I'll see you there.